want to look at you, Paulette.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh, we have so
Look at
many.
all the beautiful
I
faces.
know, we have so many people here today. I am so excited. I'm so, so excited. As you guys are,
Kayla Bowles.
Hi.
you guys are going to see a lot of people that you know, Joan and Rudy, and I'm so excited to have them here today. I cannot tell you. I am such a fan of both of them, and I just feel so honored to be able to provide this time for everyone to help all of our, alumni, people in the voiceover community, aspiring actors to understand what the Voice Arts Awards is, because I feel that the more that you know, the easier it's going to be for you guys to enter and hopefully to be nominated and win something. So I am going to, I don't think these two need an introduction, but I am not a voice actor, so I'm just giving you my, I'm not that great at this. I'm just saying up front. But this is Paulette Lifton of Voice Masters, and this is Tales from the Booth podcast. We're here today with Rudy Gaskins and Joan Baker, the co-founders of the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences, SOVAS, a nonprofit organization established a long time ago, actually, in 2013, to support and elevate the voiceover industry through education, career development, and recognition. Just so you know, if I mess up any of your intros, I redo this anyway and edit the crap out of it for like 2 hours till so I sound good. Anyway,
Okay.
so I'm just going to introduce Rudy and Joan just real quick, just some of their background, because I'm not sure if everybody knows your history. I didn't really know
Mm.
until I started doing some research on both of you.
Hmm.
Rudy is an Emmy award-winning television producer and director, and he began his career after graduating from New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, working with notable filmmakers such as Francis Ford Coppola, Spike Lee, Milos Forman. You were also an executive at ABC News and Court TV and co-founded Push Creative, which I've heard of. That's a great agency, advertising
Mm.
that earned multiple Telly Awards and an Emmy for NBC's 2000 Summer Olympics campaign. Joan is an accomplished voice artist, actress, I'm going to say dancer, and author.
Yes.
It's not in your bio, but I'm saying dancer. You dance. Her work spans television, film, video games, live events, including credits on Saturday Night Live, Guiding Light, Grand Theft Auto, the series in 2005. She authored Secrets of Voiceover Success, which I'm going to buy tomorrow, a guide for aspiring voice actors. Baker, and you both co-founded, obviously, SOVAS, and that's Voiceover Expo. So that is my intro. I did pretty good considering.
Thank you, Paulette. You
Yes, thank
did
you so
great.
much.
And we are going to get started because we have a lot to go over. Because
Yeah.
the awards is a very deep
Mhm,
platform. It has lots of opportunities, and
mhm.
I won two this year myself, which was really amazing. I guess you could see, look, see how pretty it is. Don't you want one of these guys? Okay, all right. So, so all right. So here we go. I'm gonna just start off with a few questions, and I think it's just gonna flow. Um, so let's go back to the beginning. What was the spark behind you both founding the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences?
Well,
Well,
I would say very quickly, though, the spark started from that's voiceover, and that's what led us to the Voice Arts Awards. And then before that's voiceover was Secrets of Voiceover Success. So it really started very early in 2005. And by the way, I had already been a voice actor since 1991, right? And then when I met Rudy, who was the producer side of things, we immediately started teaching because I was already teaching, like at casting agencies here in New York.
Oh wow. Okay.
And acting schools. So I was already teaching. And when Rudy and I got together, we decided to put the actor side and the producer side together. And that actually created an extraordinary educational service. And this, especially at a time when there really was no education around voiceover, and certainly not the idea to bring in producers and casting directors, which we were doing very early on to get their perspective. Because as a voice actor, one of the things I realized was that there was definitely a different language between producers, casting directors, talent agents versus the language of an actor or a voice actor. So it was kind of like two different worlds. And the wall in between was one built of fear.
Mhm.
And I was someone that, because I had been trying for so long to even get, a break, long before even 1991, I recognized that my people skills were the thing that was going to bridge that fear, that wall fear between voice actors and producers. And I know that I can rely on my people, my love of people and people skills that got me through. And that's what really, really helped me in the beginning. But it actually started with us meeting, teaching, Secrets of Voiceover Success. That's voiceover. And then the Voice Arts Awards and Society of Voice Arts and Sciences. Take it away, Gaskins.
Said it all. But yeah, it was very organic. The I think once we started the conference, that's voiceover. We were always
Mhm.
out looking for the best people who were willing to give it away. Uh, our
Yeah,
mission has always been that when people come to That's Voiceover, they should walk away better prepared, more confident about getting work, and with solid, meaningful connections that would lead to work. The whole thing is about getting work.
work.
Training obviously
Right.
has to take place, but our focus was how do we help people get jobs? And that also means how do we help casting directors and talent agencies find talent? That's
Yeah.
how speed dating came about. But in looking for those people who were willing to come in, and so I give it away, I say, because a lot of folks come in because they want to promote something. I'd love to be on your stage because I want to promote my classes. So I want to promote what I do and who I am. And we say that's going to happen naturally. We want you to
Right.
be in there giving it away to the people who showed up, who paid, who bought a ticket, and are trying to figure out the business. So we have that conversation with everybody that comes in and hits our stage. And when we get that agreement, we know, okay, we've got the right sort of individual. But in finding those people, we realized how extraordinarily talented that they were and that no one's honoring them. I said, no one
Yeah.
realizes how much a person pours into their life uh, with this career. And no one says, good job, no pat on the back. And we said,
Yeah.
we deserve an award, not just any award, not just a employee of the month kind of an award, but something that has gravitas, something that you can pass down to through your family tree. And
Like that of the Emmys or the Oscars, right? Where you
yes,
get to pass it down. Also, the flip side of that is on the voiceover side, in New York, for years, I have to go to auditions live. That changed here in for COVID. So now everything is on the internet. But before that, it was all live. And when you sit in a waiting room with other voice actors for years, one of the biggest complaints was how we are the only people in the industry that never get acknowledged. And it was very frustrating to voiceover people because, of course, our lives are dedicated to this, right? It's not a hobby. Our life is dedicated. So, a lot of the frustration that I would hear and talk about was the fact that we were the only people in a spot, in a commercial spot, in an animation that never really got any sort of recognition. And that was irksome. So, with that knowledge, and then with what Rudy said together, you put that together and, right? Our idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the entire community, not just the voice actors, but the casting directors and
Yeah,
talent agents and the creative
right,
directors and the audio engineers. We all know that it takes all of those people to create this ecosystem. And the Voice Arts
right.
Award speaks to all of those categories.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love the fact that you also recognize producers as well and people who actually create the content that actually
Yeah,
hire
and
the
audio
actors
engineers. Yeah.
and audio engineers. So I think that's wonderful. People call this, well, people call this, you know, the the Oscars for voiceover, right? That's what this is called. And what I do have to say about that is that the way that you guys put together your awards show and the work and the time that goes into it, because I know what this takes, and the fact that you have so much, I'm gonna call it glam, because I love glam, and I love
I
the
do too.
fact that you let, everybody gets dressed up. It's a and it's about celebrating actors. It's not about celebrating yourselves and what you're doing, even though that comes out of it, but it's really
Right.
celebrating the craft. And
Yes.
that's
Yes.
very clear. And it's also very clear, the way that your integrity comes out of your teaching as well. And I just commend you for that. That's why one of the reasons I'm such a big fan. So when you're
Thank you for that.
building the dream, you guys,
Mhm.
I know this is, we're going to get into the awards in a minute here, but building this dream that you guys had to create this. So tell me, what was the biggest challenge other than money?
Okay. Because that's a
Yeah.
fact.
Money continues to be a challenge.
Yeah.
It's
I
always a
know.
challenge. But
I
I
know. And
think
we're going to talk about the charity that you guys are supporting this year too, in a little bit.
Oh,
So,
okay.
the challenge, though, I didn't see it as a challenge so much at the time because we were just so in love with the idea that we could create something that would parallel something is like the Oscars
And that
for
would
voice
resonate.
actors.
And that
So
would resonate with the craft.
yeah. So thing was, you got to name it. What will this award be called? And
Right.
trust me, that takes something. You come up with all sorts of names, and there's got to be a name you can own, a name that you can trademark.
Right.
And it took a while. I mean, I still can't believe that we found voice arts, and that when we stumbled upon that, we discovered that no one owned it anywhere.
And,
We
but on
scoured the
top
world.
of
I mean,
that,
we hired our
we had
attorneys to,
yeah, go
to
ahead.
trademark it, right? But
yeah,
what I thought was interesting was we literally had to go through not just names that pinpointed voiceover, but we also had, because everything was taken, we also went to things like the Stella Awards, the Dynamic Dazzling Award. Like, we had to go through the gamut to get to voice arts.
yeah. And then it
It
was so
was
simple once we
days.
got there. It was so simple,
And
So
then
but
it
it
was
really
like
took
right under
something.
our nose.
so funny. That's so funny.
And then,
Right.
of course, what would it look like? We're creating something from scratch. We didn't want to buy
Right.
something off the shelf, which would have made this whole endeavor a lot less complicated.
More
But we
glamorous.
wanted to design something. So we went to the same company that designed the Oscar and the Emmy. And we
Oh,
said, we have an idea for what this should look like and the key elements that should be represented, which we decided was the microphone and the copy stand. And our idea was, we want to bring them together with a teardrop. We can't draw these pictures. We can't sketch it out for them. So we just found images and kind of collaged it together and said, "You get it? You understand what we're looking for?"
that's so
And then
funny.
and then they said, "Yes, we do." And they went through a number of iterations before we landed on what we have now.
Yeah.
Um,
I know, it's so pretty.
and
So pretty.
It's
yeah,
heavy. You basically have to be a sumo wrestler to pick it up. Yeah.
Heavy. And I love all the inscription. It has a lot of information on it, which is really nice.
Mhm.
and
Um,
the microphone, by the way, is the silhouette of the Neumann U87.
oh, I have one of those sitting over here.
Uh-huh,
And
see
the
it?
copy stand is what's in every studio anywhere in the world.
That's, oh, I didn't even realize that's what is too. That's what I have in my room too. Okay.
So
Yeah, I saw
basically,
someone doing an unboxing one day, and they opened up and they said, "Oh my God, the lovely light on top." And I said, "Oh God."
Well, you're just all dazzled about your own name. You're not even, you know how we are. We're crazy like that.
right.
Um,
No, but it really did take a lot of specific, very detailed work. Rudy is someone that's very detailed and specific, but yet it's couched in kind of like humor and love and very in a very giving way as opposed to uptight and tense, which what you would expect someone would be when they're that detailed and stuff. There's a love that Rudy has for it. And both myself and Pat Fraley, the legendary Pat Fraley,
I used to work with him. Yeah, I love him.
okay, me too. We tweaked some of it. The real design was Rudy's that he gave to RSO Owens and partnered with that. And we helped tweaked it and shape it a little bit. But so the award is actually something that is something that we poured a lot of love into. We also poured a lot of our investment to create a mold for the actual award costs. As you know, Paulette, things like that, you have to invest in that.
Yeah.
So every award that's made comes from out of a mold, but it's not just sitting on a shelf waiting to be bought. It's literally done with love and care in an individual way, as you can tell,
They're
Paulette.
handcrafted.
No, you
Yeah, they're
can tell
handcrafted.
because like the Emmys, you just get an Emmy and then later you get a little sticker.
Oh, I didn't know you got a sticker. Okay, because Rudy has an Emmy.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, well, I have two, and then later on, you
Mm,
just get a little thing that glues around it separately. The same thing with I think the same thing with the MPSC awards. So yours is engraved, which is very different, very unique.
yeah.
So yeah, it's I love that you guys do that. That's amazing. You guys, I'm going to say this now so I don't forget because we're going to go right into kind of looking at the website. I know I
Okay.
could sit here and literally talk to you guys for like ever and a day. I just want to make sure we hit that before we get people have to leave or whatever. You never know, I know people are
Okay.
working. But at the end of this, we're going to have an amazing announcement from Joan and Rudy with a huge discount on the awards for the next 10 days. And
Entering. Yes.
yes, just from Voice Masters. And I'm going to be giving out
Mm,
that code. So I know myself the next 10 days, I will be doing my own submissions. And Chris, if you're in the room, you're going to be helping me finish the rest of my podcast. Okay, I'm just saying that now. All right, so Rudy, can you show them like the website and just kind of start by going like how do they sign up and I know this might be rudimentary for some people, but I know a lot of people do have issues with
It's
figuring
not a given.
it's not
Right.
it's not a given, and also, there's also a little bit of tech stuff in creating your content to submit.
Okay, I'll do that. And I will say that the submission process it is fairly simple, but it's important because there are a few rules as you look through the rules and regulations that are important to follow, uh, because the judges are the final arbiters, and some of them are very strict, some of them are looser, but you have to think like a juror when you're submitting your work, and put yourself in their shoes and consider, well, what would I think if I saw the work presented in this way versus some other option you may have? So it's something to be sensitive to. And but when you go to the website, obviously this is where you go. Enter the awards. Everyone can see this. I see a few heads nod somehow. Just nod if you can see it. Okay. So you go to enter the awards. Now, because I'm in and out all the time, my information shows up right away. But even before you decide you want to log in, you can go and look at the categories. So
Yeah.
you go into categories and you pick your language. Obviously, if African is also English, it's English speaking Africa that we're referring to. So they're the same, but the categories are different. Also,
Right.
there's international dubbing. So you could submit something in Arabic, but you could also find that category in international dubbing.
Hmm.
Not all the categories are that way, but that's something you can consider. Though you may use Africa or Arabic or Spanish, you may also submit that same piece in international. So, and under international and dubbing are a variety of categories. So say it's commercial TV, you could compete against all the other countries in commercial TV. And then you would authentically have an internationally based award or nomination. So this is where you want to start, the categories. Of course, if you want to understand what's going on in your language, you can choose rules and fees so that you just know what the due dates are. Let's go and take
The
a quick
deadlines.
look at
Right.
the rules and fees so you can see them. Everything is explained. It's very explicit. If you take your time through this, you'll walk away an expert in exactly how to submit and what's allowed and what isn't allowed. One thing I'll point out, and this is explicitly listed here, is that you do not include any identifiable factors on the file itself. The file that you submit, your commercial, for example, you don't want to put like your logo at the beginning of it or at the end of it or any sort
Right.
of lower third that identifies who you are. The judges don't like that. it's a quirky thing because when you think about something like the Emmys or the Oscars, everybody knows everybody. And all the judges have seen your work. They know you. They're, you know, a lot of them are celebrity figures and they've met you at different events and so on. So you really do have to trust and have some faith in the jurors. Uh, I do, that the vast majority of them are just going to be good people who do the right thing. Uh, it's a very private process when you're a juror. You're in there by yourself. You close the curtain behind you and you do what you do. So we have to have some faith in those folks, at least as much faith as we have in ourselves to do the
I
right
want
thing.
to, I would like to add two things. One is when people are judging, they don't know, they don't have any information other than the work. So it's not like they know it's you and they're judging. They have no information other than the spot and their criteria in terms of the guides they go with to judge a spot. Also, Rudy and I are not judges. And anyone on our board is not a judge. So in other words, anyone on our board that's a voice actor can submit into the Voice Arts Awards. They're not judging. And by the way, even if you are a judge and you recognize, oh, there's a conflict of interest here, there is in the system where you can click out and that judge will not be judging that particular assignment. So I just want to say that the behind the scenes is also very detailed and also set up a fair playing field. It's not like the judges sit around and converse about each, you know, they're all in their homes by themselves with their assignments. And by the way, each submission gets about 7 different judges, and no judges know each other's assignments. So each entry gets 7 different judging. So not one particular person is, you know, has more effect than anyone else. So it's all based on fairness and fairness for a competition, and also for fairness in terms of each submission gets its due attention. It's
Yeah.
very well designed, as Carlos says, and very structured.
What's an
But you can,
Yeah, it's a really
yes,
interesting judging platform because I judge on
mhm,
the Emmys and the
so do I.
MPSC awards,
Mhm,
and it's very different. Your judging process is very different than other ones, and you're actually judging on the merits of what you're hearing.
exactly.
Yes.
You're not necessarily you're not comparing it to other people. So, which
Exactly,
is
Paulette.
so different because like in the Emmys and the MPSC awards, we have all of the stuff in our own in the category, and then we rate like 1 to 10, something like that, right?
Uh,
Yeah.
And yours, you're just judging a specific entry on its own merits. So
exactly.
you might be getting like I think last year I got whatever many I got, and then it was all from different categories, and I
Mhm.
was like, oh, this is so interesting way to judge, and I found it very interesting. I really liked it a lot because I felt like
Also,
I could really judge it on its own thing.
and also you're capable of judging many different categories. Not everyone is, and we also know what they're good at
Mm.
too. You happen to be someone that has a variety of expertise on different genres, and that's why you got what you got. But every assignment is different depending on the judge. And of course, there's a process to understand if you're going to be a judge or not for whatever reason. If you submit, you also have to have a
There's an
referral.
application that the judges
Mhm.
fill out so that we know your first language, your second language, if you can judge in more than one language, and the
Right,
categories that you have expertise
right.
in. Though sometimes, in many cases, we take people who don't necessarily have expertise in a given category, but who have an awareness about the art of voice acting, so that we can get different
A variety.
points of view, not just an expert point of view, but there's also,
Right.
sort of a people's choice kind of
The
point of view
consumer,
that we want
the
to include.
consumer point of view, right?
Yeah.
Because consumers drive audiobooks, for example, right? All their reviews, whether they are, you know, accurate or not, they actually drive the sales of audiobooks. So in our audiobook category, we do have some judges that are consumers,
And that are
right?
critics. So they're bloggers and critics. They don't read audiobooks. I mean, they don't record audiobooks. but they
Right,
critique them and
right.
they blog about them and they make excellent judges.
So a lot goes into the judging is
And when
really
the
what
judges are
we're saying.
judging, it's on a 0.1 basis. So you could give someone 1, you can give them a 1.1 all the way through 10.
Mhm.
And it's like sometimes the finish is like a race in the Olympic Games. It's literally the person who wins
Right, Paulette,
is
right,
9.1, and the person who behind them is 9, and the person behind
right,
them is 8.9.
right.
So it can get really close. So I always think when you become a nominee, it really is pretty special because you're in very close ranks to the finish line with everyone else who's a nominee. And you really should
Yeah,
pat yourself on the back and just know that it is an achievement.
yeah, exactly.
So again, everything you need to know is going to be found in this on this page, including the types of files that you can enter. And with animation or character work, there's even a place when you're submitting your work to indicate which character, if it's in a scene with numerous characters, to let us know what your character's name is and that it's the woman in the red hat or it's the petunia that talks that's on the flower table. We need to know sometimes. The judges call us, say, who are they? There's 5 people in this scene. Which one is this actor? So we leave
Right.
room for you to include that kind of thing. And so once you're past that, let's just take a look at what it's like to actually submit something. So one, you have all the categories that you're interested in doing. And what you're going to do,
Top.
I'm going to log in at this point so I can
Can you show
give you a sense of
can
what it
you
feels like.
can you show them like nominating a demo?
Okay.
I know that's like probably a very popular thing for people to do.
hmm Okay. So the first thing I want to do is enter.
After you log in
Yeah.
or create your login.
And I want to choose what do I want to enter?
Demo.
Want to go to categories, don't you?
Just waiting for it to, okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to enter as a voice actor, but you can also enter as any one of these categories. When you choose the craft, it's going to show you the categories that are represented in that craft.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so I'm going to choose voice actor as my craft. I'm entering as an independent artist. If you enter as a company, it costs more. And so you may have a company name, but if you know that you really live your life as an independent, uh, having your company name is not going to impress anyone here. So just use the independent choice
Just the work.
and, and
Just the
save
work.
money. Now, sometimes other people will enter work for you. So for example, with audiobooks, sometimes the publisher will enter 3 or 4 pieces for works that they produce. So that's the name that goes here. The name of your project. This is the project title. So in this case, it's best demo ever.
As some people do submit.
They do?
Yes,
That's hilarious.
We don't,
yes.
when we do the awards, we don't title demos because they're
Yeah.
demos.
Yeah.
But we do see some pretty crazy titles that people attempt.
That's hilarious.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then we want to put in the first name of the person whose name would actually be on the award, who would be the winner. So this is all spelled out here. In this case, it's going to be me. I like to put my name in because I don't get to win.
I don't get to submit even.
And save and next. Now the category. In this case, you're going to choose your language. And then you're going to choose the category you want. You wanted demos. So there we have the demos. And now you can select what kind of demo. I'm going to submit a political demo.
Outstanding. Okay.
So this is ensuring that when it's judged, it's going to be judged in that category. And it's going to be judged against the criteria that is built in to the system for that category. So each one of these, each one of the categories have a different criteria associated with them for both entering and judging. Okay, now we have to choose a file.
Do you have a
I
length?
don't
Do you
have.
have a maximum length for that entry?
There are maximum lengths for all the categories. They have different lengths. So for a demo, it's under 3 minutes.
Okay.
For an audiobook, it could be 5 minutes. For body of work, it's 20 minutes of material that you can submit. For campaigns, like a promo campaign or a commercial campaign, you can submit more than one piece because that's how campaigns are created.
Great.
That's how they're designed. So let's see if I can just find something to upload here. There must be on my desktop somewhere an MP3 to use. Let's try it this way.
Oh, there's a
Okay.
demo.
He's like,
Let's
"When
use
did-"
that demo.
Okay.
Now it's uploaded.
So, so once it shows up here, then it's real. If it's a commercial with imagery, then you would wait for a while for it to populate, especially if it's a larger file. We don't accept files above 80 megabytes unless it's in the category of body of work, where you have to obviously see 20 minutes worth of material. So once you have uploaded your file, you can add credits. Now, as the voice actor, I don't have to add my credit. It's already been added. That was part of the submission process. So many people add their names again later, and it's work for us to remove it. But you have to add at least one credit. I'm going to add Joan Baker as,
Because I directed you. That's why.
Of course.
okay, so she was my director. So I can go and choose what she did.
She directs you all the time.
Yes. And now we have that information in, and you can add many credits. And I always suggest that you don't know whether you're going to be a nominee yet, but it's best to get it done here, because once the nominees come out, there's this mad rush of people. Oh my God, I didn't include this person, and my name is out there, and it looks like I'm the only one who was involved. And so this desperation sets in because the people who were part of that project can't go and see the nominations. You don't want them to see it yet because you'll see that they haven't been credited. So it's important to get it done now and not have to worry about it later. And you get to choose a photo, high-res photo, not a thumbnail from Facebook, but a high-res photo, because should you become nominated or should you win, we're going to include that photo when it shows up on screen.
They sure do.
The gala. But this is not, the judges don't get your headshot or anything.
No.
That's for us, for later.
I have to choose one because it's mandatory.
Oh yeah, you just want to show your face. I know.
No, I'll take anything.
Actually, I really loved your headshot that you did. Your
I know, me too. I love it too.
both of them are great.
So this will do, just so I can submit something. So I submitted a photo there, and I can move on now.
Oh, it looks pretty easy. And then you have
Now here, if you're not a member of SOVAS, this is an opportunity to become a member. It's not mandatory. You just click here if you want to purchase a membership, which would be $249. See where I'm.
Oh, I see. Okay. Check here to purchase membership.
Yeah. And that'll take care of itself. It'll be included in the final cart. I'm not choosing that at this point. But this is the point at where you can go to finish, or you can just save it and come back later. You may want to come back later and add credits. You may want to come back later because the file you uploaded is not your finished file. And you know that you're waiting for the producer to give you the high-res version of it. But you wanted to get it done while the early bird was in effect. So you can submit a temporary file and come back later and insert the final file.
Oh, that's such a good, I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, you'll be able to come back and forth until it closes. So you can go ahead and pay for it now so that you get the early bird and know that you can come back and change the file.
That's good.
So I'm going to
So
save
go
it.
to cart.
And I'm going to go to the card. You saw the little success buttons show up, so you get little indications that you're on the right track. Now, if you have a discount code, which you might have, you would put it in here. And don't just go to checkout because it won't know that you have a discount code. You have to put in the discount code and click apply.
Okay. Do you want to put the code in now?
And make the big announcement.
Is this a good time? Is this a good time?
Sure. Well,
Okay.
we just want to, we appreciate the support that we get from Voice Masters. We love them as an organization. We love Paulette as a human being. And we're happy to share that via their good-naturedness, there will be a special code. It is Voice Masters 10, number 10, Voice Masters 10.
Which Rudy's
And
going to put in the discount code area.
And with that code, for the next 10 days, you can upload files for 35% off.
The entry
And
fee.
right now, we're in the super early bird phase of the submissions. So 30% off is going to, let's say, this would have been $113.40 with this code. It's going to become $81.90.
I know what I'm doing this weekend. I know what I'm doing.
So take advantage of that, and feel free to share it with anybody who you think is interested in applying for an award. And big thanks to Voice Masters for making this possible.
Oh, Rudy, you're so great. Thank you. I appreciate that. We all appreciate it.
Thank you,
And then you're going
Paulette.
to check out.
I selfishly appreciate it for me.
So I think you all know about this process. We all look at one or two of these every day, don't we? So
Yeah, right.
This is where you put in your credit card information and you're on your way.
Right.
Yeah, if you want to put if there's anything at all that you want to know about this process, you can throw it into the chat and we'll address it.
Yeah, we will. But I wanted, before we start taking questions, I want to do something before we move on. And that, just real quickly, I want you to tell our group what your charity is this year, what you're supporting.
Oh yeah, this is very exciting. The very first Voice Arts Awards was in 2014, and that was the inaugural Voice Arts Awards. And we created the Voice Arts Icon Award because we knew there's always going to be somebody who fits that category, that name. And in the very first year, that happened to be James Earl Jones, who was gracious enough to come to the show and brought the entire cast of the Broadway play, You Can't Take It With You. He took them with him.
He was in the show at the time, and his
Yeah.
presenter was CNN, which was a dream come true to have Don Lemon be his presenter, right? So that was something special to both of them.
Yeah. And it was special for us, not only because he said yes, but because he invited us to come and see the play and to meet with him in his dressing room after, because he wanted to know who we were, why this award, why him, and what are you people doing anyway? Who are you and what are you doing? So he wanted to investigate. He was cautious. And so we went to meet him in his dressing room, and before we knew it, we felt like family. He really truly wanted to know about us. So we didn't have to fanboy, fangirl, or anything like that. We just had to share.
Right.
We found that we knew people in common, other actors, other voice actors, and he was really appreciative of being celebrated for his voice. He had never received an award for that alone.
For his voice.
And he was very sensitive to the voice acting community, because a lot of people come to him asking questions about that, about how to break into voice acting, including his cast members, and You Can't Take It With You. So it was very special on that level, and to be with him, to be in his presence, and to share with him in that way. So fast forward 12 years, James Earl Jones, as you know.
No. Before we fast forward very quickly, after that meeting, He went on Good Morning America to talk about his Broadway
yeah.
show. They brought up, or James Earl Jones brought up SOVAS and how appreciative he was to win this award. And that's when Good Morning America named the Voice Arts Awards the Oscars of voice acting. A
Wow.
miracle, a miracle.
Yeah. So we, of
So
course,
that's
we
where
took
that
that
comes
quote and
from.
we ran with it.
Kind of more people ran with it than we did, but we were thrilled.
Yeah. So every
We
time I
were
see
thrilled.
someone with a winner or a nominee who gets a mention in their local newspaper or magazine, I always see the Oscars
The
of voice
Oscars of
acting.
voice acting. But that's actually where it derived from, right? Okay, now you can fast forward.
Okay. So James Earl Jones obviously passed away, and which was very sad. And we knew one day he was 80. He was in his 80s when we met him, and I
Mhm.
think he was maybe he was 85. I don't remember what age he was when he passed away. I think
He
might have been like
95,
95, 95.
95.
Okay. So we wanted to do something special for him, aside from including his image in the in memoriam during the gala.
Right.
And so we reached out to his family, to the estate, and asked that they allow us to rename the Voice Arts Icon Award and as the James Earl Jones Prize. And not only that, but to reimagine that award in his likeness as a
Mhm.
bronze bust. And
Mhm.
they loved the idea, we were happy to say, and they gave us the permission to do that. And in creating the bronze bust, which is something that's portable, it's like 12 inches, 13 inches tall with the base, you have to start from creating a larger than life bust. So we're working with the Schubert organization. They own 17 Broadway theaters in New York,
Mm,
including
mm,
the James Earl Jones Theater. So we're
mhm.
working with them. They're partnering with us to have the larger than life bust created and put on permanent display in the James Earl Jones Theater. So anybody walking down the street past that theater can walk in and see the bust, and
Oh,
and it's a
oh,
great way to just support his legacy.
wait, this to me is a great part, and that is that right now in the lobby, and the lobby is it's not totally huge, but it's the lobby where you get tickets and all that, and it leads into the theater. The lobby right now has a marble bust of Marie Antoinette, named, the Tonys are named after her, right? And it's a marble bust. They're literally taking that bust away to put in our bronze bust instead.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Now that to me is hot, hot, hot. I mean, that
and that
that
whole
bust
theater
has
has a
been
French.
there for decades. Marble
Yeah,
bust has been there for decades. They're
that theater is
removing
100
that
years old.
bust. Yeah.
The theater is 100 years old, and it's also the first theater where James Earl Jones uh, met Broadway, where he had his
Yeah.
first Broadway appearance
In
back in
1958,
1957,
58,
58.
57. Okay.
Okay. So, and his role, his line in that, he had one line in that play, which was, "Madam, dinner is served." Now the
That's where
theater
it began.
is named after
That's
him.
So, by the way, with the bust, with anyone that donates, especially a certain amount, their names will be in that theater on a wall, on a donor wall. And for people that donate in general, we will have an online donor wall, and that would be with anyone.
I'm
Okay.
going to show it to you.
Yeah, show it to them. And just so you know, I put I'm gonna talk about the link I just put you guys in the chat.
Oh, okay.
So what Voice Masters is gonna do, if you use my link to donate, please put your name so I know who you are, and Voice Masters is gonna match anything that you put in towards any class or demo. So if you put in $500, we're gonna give you $500. If you can only afford
Wow.
$5 or $10, if you can only afford a little bit, we'll give you $50. So
Paulette.
this is for anybody. Everybody can afford $5. Anybody can afford a cappuccino. Cappuccino for a week. No cappuccinos for a week. Okay, guys? All
Mhm.
right.
And
Paulette.
when you join,
They
you
didn't
can
know I
also
was
use,
doing this. This is a surprise.
yeah,
No,
total
this is a
surprise.
total surprise.
This is what I love about this community. It does
Oh my
show up.
God,
It does show
Paulette.
up,
Paulette, I have tears.
That's
but
Tears.
it's the bust, by the way, is being sculpted by Littleton Alston is his name. And Littleton Alston is he's an extraordinary sculptor, but he's also the first African American sculptor who was commissioned to have his work on permanent display at the U.S. Capitol, and it's there now. That happened in 2023. So he's quite good, quite skilled. He's thrilled about the opportunity to work with James Earl Jones. His
Yeah.
job doesn't officially start until the end of this month, but he's already working on it. So,
Yes. He's
dude,
rehearsing. He's in
wait for your
rehearsals.
payment, my friend. But yeah, he's already busy. He's surrounded by photographs of James Earl Jones. He's been looking at movies and creating pictures from every angle that he can find.
He's
Uh,
rehearsing.
it's quite a process, and so he will create the bust. When you go on, and we hope you will. This fundraising button will allow you to create yourself as a team. So some of these people that you see down here, they're all team members. So anyone, they can send their own special link to their friends and family, and whatever is donated on that link will accrue to that person's image. So as you can see,
I
source
can't figure out
elements.
how to. I can't figure out how to put my image on my thing.
Okay, well, you just picked one that I don't know about. I don't remember how I did that. Uh, we can try and see if there is a. Am I
Yeah,
logged in?
I've been trying to put my image on mine. I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Well, I'll
You'll show me later.
I think it's pretty straightforward when you first sign up.
Okay.
But I'll look for it and see if I
Yeah, I'll
can
look for it.
send you the.
When I give you your Canva tutorial, you can give me the tutorial.
Ah.
Okay, but yeah, but it's pretty. All of these people found a way to do it, except for Kenny,
And me.
and
He has a logo. And Paulette,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's okay.
So it might be under fundraise. You might find it there.
Okay, I'll try that. Thanks. I'll try that.
Create a page.
Create a page.
Oh, fine. Okay, fine.
So that's where it's going to happen.
Okay, thank you. Now that it's recorded, I can go back and look.
There is information about the James Earl Jones Prize, the history, Littleton Alston and his work, and for those who are interested, you can see all the different categories because there will be an online donor form, and your names will be forever listed there. So you get stuff also when you become a donor.
Yeah, you also get to be friends with you guys. And that's really great.
Yes. Okay. So yeah,
We would be so honored. And
that's the big
also,
news.
I just want to say, Paulette, you are unstoppable in the face of challenges, in the face of teaching, and in your heart in terms of giving. And I just want you to know that you mean so much what you're doing and how much we love and appreciate you deeply. And this was even before. Now it's just in my bones now. Yes.
I've grown a lot, you guys. I didn't start crying, okay? For those who've known me a long time, know I cry a lot, so.
When Paulette won I think it was her second Voice Arts Award for the evening, December 7th last year, she cried from her gut, from her heart, in such a way that the entire audience was touched, moved, and inspired.
Thank
That's how real you are, Paulette. You should be an actor, damn it.
you. I sometimes get to be. I just don't try. Just people just ask me. So
You're a natural at tapping into your emotions, and that's what acting is all about.
it is true. I can cry on
Right?
command.
It is amazing.
I can also laugh on command too. do both at the same time. That sounds like an insane person. Okay. Thank you, Joan. I have to say, I just learned a lovely lesson on acknowledgement. And for those
Mm.
of you in the room, and this is just not off topic, but this is very important because this is something I had to learn to do. Acknowledge people in your life, acknowledge the people that help you, acknowledge your mentors, your coaches, your friends that support you, and your loved
True.
ones, because what we do for a living is challenging and hard. And
Yes.
if we didn't have the support from our friends and from others, it would make it that much harder. So take the time today and acknowledge someone that's helped you, even if it's just a little bit. Even if it's just listening to an audition, whatever it is, just
Mm.
acknowledge people.
And also, Rudy and I want to acknowledge everyone on this call. Thank you for your incredible interest in wanting to learn. This is definitely an education, not one that's necessarily taught out in the world. If you submit for other awards, right? No one explains really the behind the scenes. And actually, there could be even more talked about. But certainly today was definitely 101 in terms of the behind the scenes of submitting into an awards program. And I just want to thank you with all my heart for embracing the craft, wanting to be an expert, wanting to be excellent and outstanding in what you do, only because that inspires other people towards excellence. Not because it's a selfish thing, but because it's a giving thing.
Yeah,
So thank you,
yeah. Like,
Now, there's still a
everybody.
couple things on the website I want to show you
oh no, we
first.
still got more to do. Do not leave.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
Just because we had a crying episode does not mean you are
yeah.
excused from this room. If
Oh.
you gotta go get a drink of water or pee, do it quick.
Should I show you a few other things, or do we want to
Yeah, just
open
do
the
a
floor
few
for?
things.
Yeah,
I'd also want to talk just even a little bit about what makes a submission shine, like what makes something stand out. I mean, I know you said
yes.
like what not to do, but that's something I also want
Mhm.
to address.
Yeah. Well, number one is the what not to do's. Uh, that's what's really going to help your submission shine, because the questions that we get from jurors are things like, hey, this person put their picture right up front. Should I disqualify him? And we have to talk it through sometimes because they're very strict in their way of doing things, and they don't want to move. We'll say, well, just recuse yourself. We'll assign another judge because we know the person didn't mean any harm. They just missed the rule somewhere, and we don't want to be overly strict all the time. But you do want to put yourself in the shoes of a juror and think about, what would I do if I saw something that I thought was amiss and I felt this person shouldn't have done that? Uh, do I lower their score? As a way of, you know, indicating that I
Speaking to it.
disapprove. So think about that first and foremost. Am I just following the basic rules? If it's a piece that includes a character and the character's in a scene with other characters, be sure that you indicate which character is yours. Because some judges will call us and say, we don't know what to do, or they'll just make an assumption. Oh, she's
Right,
this,
right.
it's that character, and judge you on the wrong one. And so you'll never know, we'll never know, because the judge didn't speak up about it and because you didn't let them
And
know.
made their own decision because everybody's different. Everybody's
Uh,
different.
yeah. If the category says 3 minutes or less, don't go over that, because again, the juror is going to see it, because we're not going to cut it off. If it goes 4 minutes, the juror is going to see 4 minutes if they choose to, but they may be flummoxed and say, well, wait a minute, this is breaking the rules. Should I look at the rest of this? What should I do? Now they're upset.
So,
You don't want them to
so
feel upset while they're judging your work.
So yes, so the rules really go by them. It's the same thing when you get an audition and there's direction or there's something very specific they're looking for or they want. Some people ignore that. Or some people think they do it, but in the end, they did what they wanted to do. So you have to be objective. And I
Yeah.
do think, like what Rudy says, like, what would you do if you were the juror? That's a good way to be objective.
You can also ask friends to, excuse me, look at the work. If you have several pieces that you're trying to choose from, I mean, you can submit them all if you think they're all, they all the right stuff. But if you're concerned about, okay, I can only afford to submit 2 things and I have 10 options, you might want to run it by an objective eye and see what the response is. You're going to still put in what you want because it's really, part of what the judges are unknowingly judging is what you think is good,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you're
Mm-hmm.
the one selecting the work. In the case of the publishers, they're making the choice on behalf of some of the uh,
Or the
narrators.
movie houses,
Yeah,
that also submit.
but as an independent, you're picking the work and you're saying, this is my best and I believe in it. And once you make that choice, put it in and move on.
Right.
But yes, you
Right.
can always ask trusted friends or other professionals to give you a sense if you're trying to make a choice between two or three difficult options.
Also, I want to add that a lot of people actually email me and Rudy about it. We actually can't tell you because when people email us, it's almost like they're asking, we want a guarantee. There is no guarantee. Like with auditioning, there is no guarantee. There's actually, even if you get the job, there is no guarantee it will air, right?
It
There
also,
is
there's
no
no
guarantee,
guarantee. Yeah, there's
right?
also no guarantee you won't
Right.
get replaced.
Right, right. So then it goes the same thing in the awards. So I would ask close friends, I would ask an authority like Paulette, if you're unsure, but don't ask me and Rudy because we can't say,
I'm
I
happy.
can tell
and
you,
we're not judges.
I'm happy to help anybody. Everybody knows that. So
That's why I mentioned your name.
okay. What else is there? Okay, then there's many languages, right? So be sure you're submitting in the right language category. Now we do have a QC process, quality control process, and we
Right,
take care of the basics like, hey, this is in Spanish, but it's in the English category. And we click a button and we move it. Or something claims to be a commercial, and by the time we get to the end of it, we realize, oh, this is really a promo. And so
right.
we move it from the commercial to the promo. But with
And that happens a
1,000 or
lot.
2,000 entries, you're going to miss something. And it may not be until the judge is looking at it that they realize, well, this is in the wrong category. I'm going to disqualify it.
Right,
So it's your job to make sure your work is in the right category. We try to help by making sure that by doing quality control, but your
right.
job is to make sure you put your work in the right category. That is the right language, that is the right category, and that's going to help you. That's going to help towards a successful submission.
I do want to add that actually people do ask us about if this is the right category. That is something that we can, guide. But if you think about it, sometimes we get slammed with these kinds of questions. It's not easy to email people back immediately, especially when we have so much on our plate over here. So
But
that's
we'll
why,
get to
again,
you.
I suggest too, if you need any guidance, there's always people like Paulette, authority types,
Yeah,
expert
there's so
types.
many categories that I've heard over the years that are just made up. People create interesting projects and don't have any category for them. It's so unique that there's no place to put them. And
Mm.
it's sad in a way because they love the work, they're so proud of it, and we can't just make up a category for it. And if we did, it'd be the only work in that category. So
And by the
it's
way,
funny how they show up.
every time we create new categories, which we tend to do every year, that also takes something. We also have to pay for that. We have to pay for the new category, and then we have to advertise it in a grassroots way. So sometimes categories, the first year, new ones don't get necessarily filled in terms of competition. So sometimes we have to refund the money. We don't want to disqualify the actual category. So we might have to refund, or what we say on our website is we may have to put it into another category so that it does get judged and in the competition. And that we have to use at our own discretion because not everything, especially I'm talking about new things, because we have to promote it grassroots,
Yeah. What we will do
gets
is
filled.
we will give people what we call a make good. So the following
Yeah,
year, if you submit something and
yeah,
we can't fit it anywhere, then we'll give you a
right.
free submission the following year.
Yeah. we do that too. That's what we do. Yes, it's very layered. And we're constantly making decisions, you know?
Uh,
Here's something very funny.
what else can I say about that?
Here's something
Yeah.
very funny before we start taking questions. So when we start talking about doing this today, Joan goes, "Oh, Rudy's just going to do all of this, and I'm just going to watch. I'm just going to sit there." And I'm like, "Really, Miss
Yeah,
Voice
right.
Actor? She's just going to say nothing, just going to sit there and watch?" I'm like, "Hmm." So I bet you when we go back and watch this entire thing again, we're gonna go like, how much did Rudy talk and how much did Joan talk? We're gonna do a percentage. I'm sure it's gonna be Joan's gonna win.
And the winner is.
The winner is Joan. You just got your award. Okay. Teresa, sweetie, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have two quick questions. First of all, after all is said and done, you submit your thing to the SOVAS. Do you need to be present? Do you have to go someplace for the SOVAS thing, or to get the award, or are you going to be notified if you get the award?
Okay. So you said two questions, or is that both?
No, and the second question is there a link to the fundraising page that could be emailed to me so I could?
Oh
Go-
yeah, I'll email it to you right now.
Okay.
Thanks, Paula.
And can you put it in the chat also?
I already put it in chat, but I'll put it in again.
Okay, so the awards are something that you pay for if you win.
The
You
actual
purchase
award.
the awards.
Right.
Okay, so it's a 14-inch gold-plated statuette. There's one. I'm seeing them pop up. I love that, and the light glistening on them.
But Teresa's question
so
is about
I'm
getting
answering it.
notified. Okay.
You get
So the notification takes place first as nominees. So
Charles.
we'll announce all the nominees, and that will be about 7 weeks prior to the gala, because we want folks to have plenty of time to think about travel. While I'm on that point, we've moved the gala to January, so it's not going to be December this year. It's going to be January, because a lot of folks get to save money on those holiday travel costs.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons. But also, we work with multiple countries, and in talking with our international ambassadors, we discovered that that Christmas period between Thanksgiving and Christmas is difficult, not just for the cost of flights, but for other reasons that pertain to different regions of the world. So January made a lot more sense, and it gave us 4 more weeks to plan, which we love. So that was a
Right.
nice
So
breather.
January 18th, 2026 at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. So yes, Teresa, there's a gala, and that gala announces the winners. So from the nominations, you will find out who wins. And all of the in those categories, whether it's on stage or in a special room that shows the winners. Whether you win, when you win, you also get interviewed on the red carpet, or in a different room. You get interviewed by the press and pictures and all that.
So is
So
that clear for you, Teresa?
Yes.
First, there's the nominees are listed, and then no one knows who the winners are until the day of the gala.
until the gala.
And so the next morning, all the winners will show up online on the website. So
And you get
if you're not
emailed.
at the gala, or if we don't do a live stream so that you can see it from wherever you are, then you would look to the website that next morning. In fact, before the morning arrives, and you'll see the list of all the winners.
I want to add something, and that is that a lot of times, like Teresa, you might not necessarily submit your work, but someone else does. And then they put in their email address when they go through the form. So if you got nominated, but someone else submitted it, that someone else would get an email saying that you got nominated. And what we encourage people to do is, whoever submits the award gets in touch with the person, because we don't have your email, we only have theirs. Gets in touch with the person that's got nominated. Does that make sense? They don't always do that. So sometimes
Yep.
people find out they win after the fact because they never got in the first place from the person that submitted their work, the nomination. Because we only have one email address, the submitters.
Now, when you
Does
put in
that
your
make sense?
credits, when you put in
Thank
credits,
you.
you can put in the email address of the people you credit. But most
Not
people have
everyone knows that.
difficulty finding all of that.
Yeah,
And so they just put in the submitter just puts their email address in for each of the credits. But what happens
Right.
is the all of those people who deserve recognition learn about it on their own somehow. I get calls from
right,
people who say, "Hey, I heard that I won some kind of award called the Voice Arts Award. Can you please explain what this is all about?" And they have no idea that you submitted and included their name until
right,
someone saw it and called them and said, "Hey, Bob, did you know you won this award?" And Bob is like, "What are you talking about?" So
right.
at the very least, contact the people who you credited and let them know that they are nominees
Yeah,
and what they have to do. So the nominees all get a letter explaining the next steps, and you can share that letter with everyone you've credited
that's
as
right.
if it went straight to them. Because as Joan said, we don't have their email addresses, so we can't contact them.
Hey, great. Nicole has a question, but just so I'm going to just say something. If I give you guys a code, and let's say you don't want to take a class, but you want to give it as a gift to a friend, you are more than welcome to do that. So, Carlos, I just sent you yours. Carlos just donated $100. Thank you. And Ro just donated 50. So, thank you so much. Hey, Nicole, do you have a question, sweetie?
Hi, I do
Hi,
have a
Nicole.
question. Hi, Mrs. Baker.
Hi.
So my questions are, is there age restrictions? How many podcast categories are there? And how would you access the editing details after you've already purchased for your entry?
Okay, there's no age limitation.
Okay.
You can enter once you've set up your account, you can go in and out of your account until we close the awards.
Okay.
So you can always go back in a week later, 2 weeks later, 2 months later, and add credits.
And what Rudy
And if you,
demonstrated earlier was you can save it. And when you save it, you can then go back and forth.
yeah.
Okay.
And now if you were to go and just say, I want to look at the category of demos, political demos, and you open it up and you just want to see what's there, what you have to fill out, but you're not ready to actually submit. The system is going to register that as an incomplete submission that's waiting to be completed. It's always going to be there. So
Okay.
there's a certain point where we send out letters saying, delete your incompletes. And so that we just
Or
have what's real.
see them through.
In some
Right.
cases, something's incomplete because you couldn't figure out something. You had a technical problem, so it got left. So that's a point at which we are able to help people figure out those issues. But we've learned that a lot of times it's just because people were peeking in to see what it looks like. And they wind up
Right.
with like 8 incompletes and they say to us, well, I didn't do anything. Well, that's why you get that, because you open the category up and it just started registering that you were present. There was a third part to your question.
Yeah.
Yes. How many categories are in the SOVA Awards for podcasts?
In the SOVAS
Okay.
Awards,
Yes.
all together. Now they're in different languages, so some categories are identical. Like say there's commercials, but that commercials live in Portuguese and Arabic and English and Spanish and so on. So when you look at the number of categories without distinguishing the languages, there would be 125.
Wow.
But
And if
just,
you
but
start separating them out by
distinguished
language, it grows.
125 categories.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
So
Right.
so it's quite a bit more when you look at how many are in each language.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Whenever we talk to people and they ask us that question and we say that there's 120 or whatever the exact number is, they're always like astonished. Like, yeah, we've distinguished 125 categories, but that also includes in the other languages too. So probably in English, there's about 120, something like that. But still, who would have thunk, right?
And once you open up a category, once you log in and you open any given category, you'll be able to scroll down and see all the options. You can see all of that before you select anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nicole. Thank you.
You have a question, sweetie?
Oh, am I up?
Yeah, you are up.
I'm up. Okay.
Steve Tardio?
It is. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say hi.
Hi.
Hey, Steve.
Okay. Hi to my former boss, Rudy, and my very first voiceover coach, Joan. So I just wanted to say hello, and I
Oh, you
love
did
what
a
you're
great
doing
job,
here.
Joan, because he's unbelievably talented.
Yes.
And
And I
Yeah.
picked him. I hired him at Food Network
we did
when I was the executive producer
As a
there.
producer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
the day, way back in the day. And I love what you're doing here with everything. Just wanted to say that. And
Oh, thank
hoping to
you.
get to one of the galas soon. And
Oh,
thanks for
Steve.
everything. Thanks for where I'm at right now. It's great to see everything and to see you again.
You too, Steve.
Good to
And
see you,
yes,
Steve.
you will love the gala whenever you come. You will love it.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully this year. So that's
Yeah.
all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Just a quick
Good
hello.
seeing you, Steve.
You too.
Kiefer, is that your name? Kiefer?
Kever.
Heather.
Kiefer.
Yeah.
Kiefer,
Yes,
sorry.
Look at this thing. Look at her background. Look at Miss Thing's
Aw.
background.
Just wanted to say hi. I love you guys. You're amazing.
You.
You're fantastic. So
Thank you, Kev.
Rudy,
Oh, so great seeing you.
it's awesome
Thank you,
seeing you.
Kever.
Absolutely. Just wanted to say hi.
You're such a sweetheart. Thank
Once
you.
again, say thank you for this beauty behind.
Amazing.
One question that comes up pretty often
Amazing.
usually comes from the international community. Not that the U.S. isn't part of that, but I mean outside of the U.S. And that has to do with letters of recommendation for visas of various types. So we do provide that for people, and because folks want to work in the U.S. and there are options that they have through their consulates and embassies to be able to do that. And so having a certificate of nomination or of winning, together with a letter from us recognizing your work makes a big difference and allows those folks to gain more access to the American market.
That's amazing.
So
That's
we help with that. We've helped with that too, with all kinds of languages.
That's incredible. Because I didn't even think about the logistics of that too. That's a big
Yes.
challenge.
Yes.
Lyle,
Exactly.
Lyle, did you have a question?
Lyle.
there.
Oh
How
my
are you?
God. How are you?
I'm enjoying Dublin, Ireland. That's where I'm on the line from here for the next
What?
week and a half.
You're
Well,
kidding.
Speaking of
I
international,
I I I got laid off from my job in San Diego, and so I
I
just said,
did read that.
"Well, I got nothing going on right now. I think I'll just go across the pond for a couple of
That's
weeks."
incredible.
Yeah. But my question, actually, you guys have obviously built up something incredible over. You said 14 years ago was when you first started the
Yeah.
SOVAS Awards. You ever,
Yes.
and it
this is the
seems like
12th year.
yeah, it seems like a
But
really perfect thing that you got going on right now. Do you ever even have time to think of what it's going to look like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? Or is that not, I mean, I kind of do know a little bit about what goes into putting on such a, the Olympics of voiceover.
Yeah.
Just I have a television background, so
right.
what goes
Right.
into putting on a show?
Is that another question? What
Well,
goes into putting on a show?
I was just curious what you envision this to go.
Yeah,
Like I said,
it's
3 years, five
it's a
years,
very
10 years
tough
from now.
question.
Yeah.
You're basically talking
Yes.
about forecasting, and we're at a stage, 12 years in, where forecasting is becoming more and more critical. And on one level, it's about how long are we going to be here to run it? Because as a nonprofit, we are stewards. We're not owners. So the nonprofit belongs to America, belongs to the public. It's granted to us by virtue of having established the parameters and the mission. But one of the reasons it's tax free is because you own it. If you're an American, you own it. Our job is to just run it and try to do a good job of that. So at some point, someone else has to step into these shoes. And that's something that we have been thinking hard about. And we're talking to people who seem like they might have that level of interest. And we're working on a way to create a salary for a couple of staffers that will make it meaningful and possible for them to step into those roles. Because for us and the time we've been doing it, we put personal money into it. And the money that comes out of it is all under the banner of paying us back. So rather than get salaries, we get paid back what we put in. But the goal is to have this move to a place where salaries are available to the people who make it work.
Appreciate it. Thank you. You guys do tremendous work.
Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think is that all of
Remove
our
membership.
questions, guys? Before we
There's one question in here. It says, can you remove membership earlier than the renew date? But it already disappeared. Maybe
can
the
you
person
remove
that
membership
asked,
earlier than the renew date?
It was renew, not remove.
I think he means renew.
oh,
Sorry.
Was you, Ed?
It was
So what is
me.
the question?
Can you renew your membership earlier than the expiration date of your membership? And will it reset the date or will it just add on to it?
We'll reset the date.
Okay.
So if you want to get, if it's a week or two, it may not matter. But if you're talking about 2 months, you may as well get all the benefits you're going to get and then renew.
Yeah.
Mine
expires
there
at
some
the
new
end of
options
June.
coming up.
Yeah.
well, also
There's
if
some-
you
there's some new-
donate, a certain amount, you're going to get free a membership. And that's in the Give Butter description in terms of what you get out of it, depending on how much you donate. So you do get free memberships depending on what you donate. There's that option.
Oh.
Yes. Well, if you're doing
Yeah.
something like that, if you're applying to if you're submitting a donation and it warrants a membership, we will work that out with you. That's going to be kind of a one-off scenario, but what we would do is go in and reset the membership so that it will renew when your current membership ends. Okay, so we will take care of that step for you.
You're saying if there's the donation, if it's
Yeah.
gone, if it's
So if you
done
want to
through
make a
that way.
donation now and you're realizing, well, wait a minute, it's going to cut into my already existing membership. Just let us know that you've done that, and we'll go in and we'll move it accordingly.
Thank you.
Our email, Joan, Rudy at sovas.org or info at sovas.org or Joan at sovas.org.
Those are a lot of .orgs there. Okay.
Yeah, that's I didn't think about that one. Ed, thanks for that.
Yeah, Ed, thank you. Because
I'm gonna
your
look into
question looked different coming through chat. So glad you cleared it up too.
So funny. All right. You guys,
Yes.
this was unbelievable.
God, this was unbelievable.
I know. If there's anything else that you guys want to share, I want to just ask one last little question before we go. Actually, two. What's your most inspiring voice actor that you've ever met?
Besides James Earl
Yes,
Jones?
I know.
Okay, I would say Don LaFontaine, hands down.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm saying that not because I know his work. I'm saying that because he would sit Rudy and I down in his booth in LA in his home and give us lessons, have conversations, revealing his tricks or what he does and testing it out on us. Like, so I'm coming from that place when I say that. Absolutely, hands down, Don LaFontaine. He was extraordinary. And you know what? He didn't even have to be. He didn't even have to be as extraordinary as he was to have worked as a voice actor. And by the way, it took him 20 years to become a working voice actor getting paid.
Yeah, none of this stuff. This is all work in progress.
Well, there are many for me, and one of them is Joan Baker, I must say, because I've worked with her very closely as a voice actor first,
Yeah,
before
that's
there
true.
was romance in the air, uh, and uh, and having a chance to talk with her as a voice actor about her craft and about her coaching and that whole thing gave me a whole different perspective of what voice actors deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that's not a perspective I had as a producer, what their struggles are like and what their lives are like. So that was great. But there was another gentleman who was the voice of ABC. His name was Fred Collins. He died years ago, but he was there when I was a writer producer for that network. And he was an extraordinary voice actor. In those days, I have to say, you had to really time everything, and you had to work with voice actors had to be able to know what you meant by shave 5 frames off of a read, or what you meant by shave 2 frames off of a read, and everybody was skilled in that. They knew what that meant and
Yeah.
how to find it and feel it out. And so I loved working with him for many different reasons, not just that technical skill, but his ability to just really deliver stories. And so I asked him to put me in the booth and direct me through some spots so that I could better understand what the voice actor is experiencing, because I'm directing them every day. And I'm shooting from the hip, which a lot of producers, directors are doing. Even though I had acting training and directing training at NYU, that's not what my focus was. It was filmmaking. So he put me in the booth, and it was just unbelievable what that experience was as he moved me through different levels of the copy and different ways of delivering it. And, he directed me, and he was excellent at it. So I'll never forget him for that, because it completely changed how I worked with actors thereafter.
What an incredible answer. That's great. And one more
Yeah.
question. What's one thing that every VO actor should stop doing?
What a great question.
I've never asked this of anybody in my life. Actually, and the other question either, I've never asked anybody.
That's a great question,
My answer
actually.
is screaming for attention.
My answer is holding your breath while you're speaking.
Yeah,
So one of them is marketing and one of them is performance.
I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, for me, it's imploding, which is similar to what you're saying when you're talking inside of your body instead of outside.
Yes, Paulette.
Imploding. And I'm
Yes.
going to say, to tag onto you, Rudy, I'm going to say inauthentic representation and social media of who you
Yeah.
are as an actor and a
Yeah.
person. And
Yeah.
I feel the one biggest mistake that actors make, because since I posted this thing about me casting and voice directing this anime, which is probably a stupid idea, I've gotten so many people reaching out to me. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say if I had 100 people contacting me, probably only 2 could describe who they are in an interesting a way that I could cast them as in something. Because understanding who you are and how special you are and what you have to offer is the most important thing to me as a casting person.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, what I think is very insightful about that is what you're pointing to also is know who you're talking to. So when you're talking to a casting director, their needs and interests are very different than when you're talking to a producer.
It's true.
And then there are nuances within those areas. So some people cast a certain genre almost exclusively. Casting directors for voice actors are different from what a casting director is looking for on camera.
That's
So
right. Mm-hmm.
if you're sharing your skill set, know who you're talking to and what they're listening for.
That is a great place to end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, thank you so much, both of you, for
Thank you,
this
Paulette.
incredible time together.
This is truly incredible. It is an incredible time aside from the world politics. This is an
Yeah.
incredible time and what's manifesting and the colors coming out of that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I see my good friend Charles Reese out there. Hello, Charles. Good to see your face in the
Wait,
house. Good to see all
last
of your faces.
2024, Charles won for spoken word.
Oh, I
Spoken,
remember.
yes.
I remember Charles now. I do remember him
Spoken
up on
word.
stage. He was so great.
Right. No, Charles
Go the way
is
your heart beats, he said.
extraordinary. As a matter of fact, we know Charles because he got referred to us to stage manage That's Voiceover back in 2015, 2014, and he was extraordinary stage manager. This is before I even knew anything about spoken word. And Charles, who I don't know how you would coin it exactly, but he is James Baldwin. I'll put it that way. He is James Baldwin. Okay. And
Channeling.
that's
He
what
channels him.
and he channels him, yes. And that's what he won for in spoken word. I mean, Charles is it.
There's an amazing amount of talent in this room right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I can't,
yeah,
I'm just so glad everybody, the
yeah.
people that came today. We are going to repost this, guys, probably on
Oh,
YouTube and also on my, I guess I'm going to have to make a podcast within the next 10 days of this too. And no one's going to recognize your voices, I'm sure, at all.
Well, especially if I do something else, you know.
You're so hilarious. Okay, guys, thank you for being here, everyone. I'm so next.
It's been a
everybody.
pleasure.
Yeah, and I'm gonna repost all this stuff on social media as well. Next week we're doing a free commercial workout room with Mark Sweeney, so we'll be posting that as well. And thank you, Joan, thank you, Rudy.
Thank you so much, Paulette.
You're
We
welcome.
absolutely love and adore you. That gets up on YouTube too. Okay.
That'll be the end of my podcast submission right there. Okay, all right.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your questions, your passion, for being here. We absolutely adore you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Mwah.
Guys, see you,
Great.
Bye.
see you
Bye.
next week.